What's going on there, YouTube? So, decided I wanted my custom K10 truck build to be on leaf springs. And if you've been following along, it's on a Jalon 2 D110 frame because it's longer. Needed a longer wheelbase because of turning the Blazer into a pickup. Added about an inch. Running into problems. I've got all the leaf components I need. I've got everything that I need to do the swap, but that Jalon 2 frame has no holes that line up. Nothing was going to work out, so I'm not sure yet. I'm playing around here. I have a Trailfinder 2 frame that I've started putting leaf springs on, hoping, since everything just bolts on, since that chassis is designed for leaf springs, instead of having to drill tons of holes on both sides, front and back, on the Jalon 2 frame, I'm just going to have to do the rear on the Trailfinder 2 to get the rear axle further back so I can get the wheelbase right for my body. But that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I'm at a point right now I got to decide if I want to go ahead and strip the Jalon 2 down, or do I want to wait. I've got this set of Yoda 1 axles here that I don't have anything for. I would rather run the Yoda 2s on this truck, but I think right now, for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Yoda 1s on, just so I can mock up both trucks, make sure I've got the wheelbase right on this one before I start doing any drilling. And that way I can check for other issues where the body mounts and things like that come in. And if I can get the suspension and the length right, the wheelbase correct for the body, then I'll go ahead and swap over, because I'm going to have to steal the transmission and transfer case and all the drive lines and stuff from the Jalon 2. And then I'll go ahead and change out the axles as well. So I think that's where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and mount this front axle on here. Hopefully we get the wheelbase right. From just eyeballing it, from what I've seen so far, I think my rear is going to have to be right side up. See, the stock mounts are right here, and then it has this drop down bracket. Not sure if you can see because my hand, it goes like that. So I think it's going to have to be back somewhere like that. So I don't know. We're going to have to see. Starting on the front because that's all easy and bolt on. Alright guys, so this is where I'm at. I know the bed's not even. I've just got it propped up there. I went ahead and put on the leaves on the front of the Trailfinder 2. And I've got the body mounted with the body lift. And I'm loving the front. I'm loving the stance, the look. I went ahead and put what I got in the front, 4 leaves. Just for scale effect. I know it's going to be stiff. I'm thinking of this being a tow truck. I'm going to try to hopefully get me a trailer at some point and use this to haul something else that I haven't built yet. So this is where I'm at. Let's zoom you in here and give you a better look at the back and what's going on. Alright, so this is my current situation here. This is roughly where I need the axle to be. There are no holes for leaf perches, and also another issue with the leaf, the perch, I guess, I don't know what you call it. On the inside of the Trailfinder 2 rail, it is machined out, and our leaf perch sits into it. So I've got them wedged between the rails back here where I need them, but it's making the rear spread out further back here, so my shackles and stuff won't work quite right. So there may be a lot of dremeling in the future to try and cut down a little smooth section inside of there to mount my leaf perches. Second big problem is the chassis is too short. When I was just guesstimating before I started any of this, I was thinking that I could use that very rear hole where the bumper mount's supposed to be for the shackle. And as you can see here, my rail is about ½ an inch too short to even be useful at all. I probably will have to reuse this piece just to get the proportions right, get the pinion angle decent. So I've got to find a way to extend the chassis. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know I've been brazing, but I don't know how to braze aluminum. That's a different animal, different rods, different heat. So I've got to spend a little time here and brainstorm on how to handle this. I need to extend it with some kind of material that's easy to work with. I don't know if it might be easier to, say, cut here and extend out that way, or hack up another chassis and make it grow a little bit. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, so I got to do some brainstorming here, see what I can come up with. Alright guys, it's my lucky day, I guess. So, two problems I was having with the Trailfinder 2 leaf hangers. The one, I was going to have to drill 2 holes perfectly distanced apart, perfectly the same on both rails. And 2, since we're moving it back on the chassis, the leaf hanger was going to be up higher, which in turn was going to make the suspension lower. So I got lucky here and I have some bruiser parts. I've got a lot of Tamiya bruiser parts laying around, and hey, believe it or not, these were already cut. I'll zoom you in here and show you what I'm talking about. So these I had on the front of a custom bruiser chassis that used to be on the Amigo build before it changed chassis 3 or 4 times, and the inside was already cut here. And it just worked out. The outside, or the rear hole, lined up with an existing hole on the frame. So I played with the angle a little bit. Now all I've got to do is mark and drill 1 hole on each side, and my hangers are in. And my wheelbase is perfect. So that solved one problem here. Now I've got to try to figure out what I'm going to do about the rear. I really need a longer frame. So I don't know, I'm gonna get back to the drawing board. Alright guys, so I'm a little stumped on the frame, a way to lengthen the chassis, but I did want to go ahead and do another idea that I've had. I like the way it looked on the Jalan 2. It has the real long lower links, and it looked like track rods on, you put on a lifted leaf sprung truck, keep everything squared away, keep the rear end from flexing out from under you. So got the idea here. This is one of the 4-link trusses that I took off of the other chassis, or this chassis, and I've got these rods here. They are the rock crawler rods. I just bought that set of those aftermarket rods from RC4wd a while ago because I needed some extras of a certain length for something else, and yeah, I've had a bunch of them laying around, so I thought that'll be cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the original mounts here for the chassis for the rear 4-link, and I'm going to use these pieces off of the truss and mount my track rods. Now what this is going to do, I'm going to build this between the axle. I'm going to take this truss off and just use these pieces here. They'll bolt between the axle and the leaf springs, so they'll act as a lift block also, and give me a mount for my track rods. And then, like I said, I'll use these original chassis brackets here to give me a mount that'll drop down and I can mount my track rods to. Now hopefully, if my eyeballing is correct, these should be the right length. I'm not sure how long these rods are. They don't say on the rock crawler brand. I can't see on the, oh wait, D110, they are 129 millimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and add that stuff on here and see how it works. Alright guys, I went ahead and put all the track bars on, made the links the right length, and the geometry's all off. With the leaf springs, the track bars make it completely stiff. There is no movement at all, and you can see the rear of the leaf isn't even attached to anything. So for now I'm just going to leave them on because I'm trying to extend the frame rails here. It helps having those pretty close to ride height. Might need to come up just a hair, but it'll be close enough that I can figure out now how I'm going to extend the frame rails. A couple different ideas. Using some aluminum angles, I can just bolt them to here and extend them out. I really wanted to keep more of a stock look, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I even considered cutting the back of the rails and then extending them, that way I still had the stock bumper mount. But that's going to be a lot of work, a lot of unnecessary extra work for not much different outcome. And plus the bumper mounts to the body, not the chassis. It will limit me from making using any aftermarket bumpers that come out for the Trailfinder 2, because it won't attach to the chassis properly. But I'm still doing some brainstorming on it. I've got to figure out exactly how long I need and see what kind of metal I have laying around, or what spare chassis I can cut up and be okay with. Alright guys, so I went ahead and cut the front 1.5 inches off of a Jalon 2 frame, which I had a spare laying around. When it did the front, the Jalon 2s have this really thick section in the back that wouldn't work with the Trailfinder 2, which is narrow in the back. So I took the front, because it has the same bumper mounts as the Trailfinder 2 does, front and rear, that Jalon has on the front also. So in theory, once I get this mounted on here, I'll be able to mount a standard bumper onto it, just like you would the regular Trailfinder 2. Now the trick is going to be getting it mounted on here. I've had some ideas about putting, let me zoom you in here, putting some steel or aluminum behind it and bolting it through the holes and then mounting it. That may work, but I think I'm going to wait until I get some aluminum. I've got some aluminum angle, but it's way too big. It's almost 1/2 inch on each side. I need half that. I need a 1/4 inch aluminum angle. And then I'll just run a section of it from here to here. It'll lay on top, lay on the back, and I can bolt it through wherever I can. And that'll give it strength. And then once I get everything done and squared away on the chassis, I'm going to strip it back down and sandblast it, paint it, so it looks a little more streamlined, because I don't want to be able to see this gap in the frame rails here. Now these are very close to the same thickness. The Jalon 2 is a little bit wider. I think though, once I get whatever I'm going to use to attach it across the top, it'll be alright. You won't really be able to tell. But yeah, I've got to wait until I can go and buy some more aluminum, because I don't have anything that'll work. But you never know, the whole thing could change. We could come back on the next installment and have a different chassis altogether. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to have to wrap this one up because it's kind of winding on long. So I'm going to try to get some more aluminum and we'll take it from there. But yep. Anyways, thank y'all for watching and stay tuned. Got a lot more coming on this truck. It's still a long way to go. And I'll see you in the next video.